Did you know that you can take some simple yet practical actions to help protect Tasmania from the negative impacts of pests, weeds and diseases?
We call them the Biosecurity Basics. We all have a role to play in Tasmania's biosecurity system. Here are some biosecurity basics that you can do.
If you're travelling into Tasmania, it's so important that you check all your luggage to make sure you're not bringing any biosecurity restricted items into the state. Those restricted items can include fruit and vegetables, seafood, some animal products, and plant material, soil and seeds.
If you are found responsible for introducing a pest or disease from a restricted item, it could have devastating impacts on our agriculture sector and environment. Plus, you could receive a very hefty fine. By not bringing restricted items with you when you visit or return home, you can help protect Tasmania's well-earned and world-renowned reputation as a first-class foodie destination.
And if you do bring restricted items with you, and that can easily happen, make sure you dispose of those items on arrival in the bins provided at entry points into our state.
If you are not sure if what you have brought with you is a restricted item, please ask a Biosecurity Tasmania officer when you arrive.
We all have a biosecurity duty to help protect Tasmania's environment, primary industries, economy and way of life from the negative impacts of pests, weeds and diseases. In fact, it's the law.
So, do the right thing and check your bags prior to coming to Tasmania.
Or you could risk being fined. Check your bags. The introduction of a pest or disease can happen unintentionally through soil, mud or water that might be present in or on a range of items.
You could inadvertently walk it onto a property or see it make its way into a waterway without knowing about it.
If you're travelling to Tasmania, it's really important that you check all of your vehicles, clothing and recreational equipment to make sure they're free of any visible dirt, mud or other potential contaminants that might be lurking on them. If anything is dirty, make sure that you clean it well and dry it off before you enter Tasmania.
One seed, one drop of water, a small amount of contaminated dirt could have a big impact. We all have a biosecurity duty to help protect Tasmania's environment, primary industries, economy and way of life from the negative impacts of pests, weeds and diseases. In fact, it's the law.
So do the right thing and make sure that what you do bring with you to Tasmania has been checked, cleaned and if necessary, dried. Come in clean. If you're out and about visiting farms, orchards or other primary production areas around Tasmania, it's vital that you do not enter without first seeking permission from the owner or manager, and when you do, follow instructions and stay on the path.
As tempting as it may be to get closer to a cute animal in a paddock or to wander through a picture-perfect orchard or vineyard, you need to know that you could unknowingly introduce a pest, weed or disease to the property.
We all have a biosecurity duty to help protect Tasmania's environment, primary industries, economy and way of life from the negative impacts of pests, weeds and diseases. In fact, it's the law.
Staying on the path is also important if you're trekking through Tasmania's many scenic parks and reserves. It's vital that you stay on formed paths and tracks. Stay on the path.
Whether you live in Tasmania or are visiting our island state, everyone is encouraged to keep an eye out for anything that may appear unusual or out of place. It could represent a serious biosecurity risk to Tasmania.
If you see something unusual, like a sick animal, an invasive weed, an insect that looks like a fruit fly or other exotic pest, note its location, take a photo and isolate it if possible. Report it as soon as you can to Biosecurity Tasmania, your vet or one of the emergency pest and disease hotlines.
We all have a biosecurity duty to help protect Tasmania's environment, primary industries, economy and way of life from the negative impacts of pests, weeds and diseases. In fact, it's the law.
You can help keep Tasmania safe. Just remember to keep an eye out when exploring nature. Know what to do if something isn't right and report anything unusual.